We're here with Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate in Texas, Terry Virts. Thank you for joining us again. I guess just to start off, how have the last couple of months been since we last spoke to you?
It's been very busy. I was in Rio Grande Valley and Brownsville last week, Austin today, going to Midland tomorrow, Dallas on Sunday. So Texas is a big state, as we all know, and campaigning statewide for U.S. Senate is awesome. I get to talk to voters all across the state. It's a lot of fun.
So you made you made waves this week taking aim at U.S. Minority Senate Leader Chuck Schumer. Do you want to explain exactly what your contention is and why you did that?
Sure. Well, there's nothing personal, but I'm running statewide in Texas. Democrats haven't won here in 30 years, as we all know. So I'm a pilot. We have pretty big headwinds in Texas, and what we need is a tailwind. And the national Democratic brand, unfortunately, is a big headwind right now. We all know all the numbers that are coming out. So we need to make that change now. There's a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans in this area, and if the Democratic Party were the Dallas Cowboys, Chuck Schumer is our Jerry Jones. So it's time. We need to make the change now. There's lots of talent in the Senate. There's lots of Democratic talent, Alyssa Slotkin, Ruben Gallego, Mark Kelly. I could go down the list. But it's time for some tailwinds, and we need that now. We can't wait until the next Congress.
So a lot of what we've been seeing from the Senate side, especially on the Democratic primary side, talk in the media is a lot about who isn't running or who may run.
Yeah.
In this environment, when everyone's talking about will Joaquin Castro or Beto or Tallarico jump in the race, with currently it's still just being you and Colin Allred, how do you promote your message and get your name out there?
Right. So step one is go talk to voters. So show up. I've been going to Democratic Club here. I spoke at the UT Democrats last night. It was awesome. Hundreds of people there. Going around the state talking to folks. Also going on media, things like this show, but also right-wing podcasts. Like as Democrats, we have to get our name out. And unfortunately, the coverage is often about the horse race. But the horse race isn't what matters. What matters is the actual things that are happening. What matters is that there's masked men yanking people off the streets, sending them to gulags. What matters is that there is military in American cities. I talked to a young man here at UT, Marine reservist, just got called up. He's having to leave school to go to an American city. He was really worried about it. He didn't know where he was. The redistricting, the gerrymandering arms race that was started by Donald Trump and Greg Abbott follows his boss in Mar-a-Lago. That's a really profoundly terrible thing for American democracy, and it's happening. And so the horse race is interesting. The actual issues are much more important. And here's my pitch to the Democratic Party. It's been 30 years of running the same type of candidate. If we're going to win in Texas, I think we need to run a different type of candidate like me who can actually win. And winning is all that matters right now. The horse race is secondary. Winning and the issues are what matter.
And speaking of trying to win, right, you mentioned a lot of things that are going on in the federal government right now, yet still, especially among Republicans here in Texas, Trump's approval rating is still over the moon. How do you reach out to those voters, or is that even a part of your plan?
I have a funny story. This is an anecdote. Driving home from Austin, I stopped by. There's a location that has big Trump signs outside, and I said, you know what? I want to talk to this guy. So I went in, had a long conversation, a really wonderful gentleman. He's got the Trump pictures and the Hillary for prison stuff, and a really good man. And I was there for an hour and a half, and afterwards he was like, and he knows I'm running for Senate as a Democrat. He said, what's your website? I want to donate to you. So my point is, if we can talk to people, and look, some people are going to support Trump, and that's fine. But most people realize that they didn't vote for tariffs. They didn't vote for masked military men on the streets yanking people off the streets. They didn't vote for higher prices and less jobs, which is exactly what Trump is bringing. They didn't vote to invade Canada and be friends with Vladimir Putin. If we can talk to them as human beings and realize that Democrats aren't scary, like I'm a person you can vote for, I'm not scary. I served my country for 30 years, defended the Constitution of the United States. I think we can get that message out. And there's a lot of unhappiness with Trump. The polls may say one thing. There's a lot of people that are thinking this is not what I voted for. And those are the people I want to talk to, because I think I can win them over and win in Texas.
So speaking of the current horse race, right now it is just you and former Representative Colin Allred.
Right.
What do you think makes yourself stand out against former Representative Allred?
So I like Colin Allred. I think he's a good man. I wish he would have won the last election. I think America would be in a better place, but he didn't. And unfortunately in Texas, if you lose a Senate race, you don't win again. And I'm not a politician. It may be Allred, there may be other traditional Democratic, politicians that can win in very strong blue Austin districts, but that's not going to win statewide in Texas. It's been 30 years. 1994, Ann Richards, the great Ann Richards, was governor of Texas the last time a Democrat won statewide. And I think that my resume as a military officer, 30 years in the Air Force as an F-16 pilot, as a NASA astronaut, that's a pretty unique perspective. I bring a focus on mission and not on politics, and I think that resume is going to resonate with Texans. They appreciate that. I'm definitely not a DC Democrat. I think the DC Democratic machine needs to be dismantled and rebuilt, and I think that's going to resonate in Texas.
Speaking of that, and going along the calls to get rid of Senator Schumer from his leadership position, what would your response be to someone who might be in Senator Schumer's camp who says, well, this is just an outsider trying to draw some attention to himself to promote his campaign?
Well, I'd say if you read the polls recently, the Democratic Party brand is in the dumps. It is a giant headwind. And if I run in Texas and I tell someone I'm a Democrat, the vast majority of the response I get is, oh, Democrats, blah, blah, blah. So our brand, we need to focus on the middle class. We need to focus on working Texans issues. If we can become that party of the working people, I came from a union family. I was the first guy to go to college. If we can be that party that focuses on the middle class, we can win elections 2/3 to 1/3. That's not the direction that the Democratic Party has been going. New York Times just had an article. There's 30 states where you register. Texas is not one of them, but 30 states you register as a Republican or Democrat. In all 30 states, Democrats lost voters and Republicans gained voters. We're getting our butts kicked as a national party. Look, if the Dallas Cowboys are losing 12 or 14 games a year, Jerry Jones fired Tom Landry. If the Houston Astros or Texas Rangers have talent and they're losing, you change the head coach. It's time for Democrats to be serious, to go, look, we're going to stop gaslighting you. We're going to stop spending 2 weeks in Illinois and coming back a victory. That was a defeat. Democrats just lost in a gerrymandering race. We're going to stop gaslighting you. We're going to change. We're going to focus on the middle class, the working class. I think Texans are going to respond to that.
I know you just called it a defeat, and yes, the redistricting maps did pass. There did get a lot of national attention here on the Texas Democratic Party. How do you see the party carrying that momentum to 2026 and actually trying to flip these seats for the first time in over 30 years?
So I want to fight. I want to actually fight. I want not performance. I want perseverance. And the only way to fight is to win. If we win, if we had the Texas House, this redistricting wouldn't be happening. If we had the Senate, Pete Hegseth wouldn't be Secretary of Defense. Kristi Noem wouldn't be Homeland Security. The Supreme Court wouldn't be 6-3, but we don't win elections. Democrats do not win statewide elections here. We need to change that. And we can't just try the same thing over again. We need to, in the military, we have a debrief. After a mission, you have your debrief afterwards. We need to have a debrief as a party and go, look, voters don't like what we've been doing. Let's switch lanes. Affordability, the cost of living, for housing, for groceries, for healthcare. I just got my flood insurance. I live in Houston on the Gulf of Mexico. My flood insurance doubled. That's bad for me. It's bad for millions of families there. So if we can focus on affordability, those are the issues that working Texans care about. We need to change as a party and get better.
And speaking of your military experience, the administration has been deploying, whether military or National Guard, now in D.C., considering doing it in other places across the country. What are your thoughts on that, given your military background?
Well, Donald Trump constantly needs an emergency. Everything's an emergency. The tariffs are unconstitutional. The Congress is supposed to, but men like John Cornyn have abdicated their constitutional duties, and they've allowed Trump to do things that he shouldn't be doing. Washington, D.C. is better than it's ever been. I went there as a kid on field trips. It was dangerous. D.C. used to be not a great place. When you go there today, it's beautiful. There are neighborhoods where it's bad. There's neighborhoods where we need to crack down on crime. Democrats actually believe on supporting law enforcement and cracking down on crime. The Republicans are destroying law enforcement and the FBI and these things. So Trump constantly needs emergencies. He makes this stuff up. He's flag burning is the new thing. I'm not worried about flag burning. I spent 30 years in the Air Force to give people the right to do and say things that I disagree with. Well, I'm worried about Constitution burning. And that's what Donald Trump is doing. The problem is not flag burning. The problem is burning the Constitution. And we just need to have open eyes. Crime needs to stop. Deploying the U.S. military is absolutely the wrong thing to do. It's what dictators do. It's what fascist countries do. It's not what we do in the United States of America.
All right, just to wrap up here, given your status as kind of an outsider from the political apparatus, never held public office before, you've been campaigning for basically a whole summer now. What has been the biggest challenge from that role?
Well, the big challenge in Texas is getting my name out. So if folks like it, please tell their friends. Terry Virts is a pretty interesting candidate. TerryVirts.com is my website. Name recognition is a challenge. Talking to donors, a lot of donors felt very burned by the last cycle. They spent a lot of money on Calling All Red. It went up in flames. And a lot of people don't want to do that again because of the disaster of the campaign that we just ran a few months ago. So that's a challenge. The big thing for me is getting my name out. When people hear, like last night at the local meeting, there was a lot of cheering, a lot of excitement. So I need to keep on working, going on local TV, going on podcasts, going on Fox News, and making our case there. And people are excited about it, and people want to win. And the country demands that we have some checks and balances. The country demands that the Congress does its job. Men like John Cornyn are weak and pitiful. He's choosing party and Donald Trump over country. Cornyn knows better, and he still does the things he does. He's not going to be the nominee. Ken Paxton is. Ken Paxton is Ken Paxton. He is cruel, he's corrupt, and he's going to be the next senator from Texas unless we as Democrats change our course, have a course correction, and offer something that the Texas voters want. And I think that that's who I am, and I can beat Ken Paxton.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything else you want to say?
Beat Ohio State.
That's a good way to end it. Thank you so much, Mr. Virts.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.